Welcome back, members, for the fourth session for this day on the topic question and answers on income tax and GST. We have two doyens of our profession to handle this session. May I request our Vice Chairman, Pramodar Hegde, to escort the speakers onto the dais. Thank you, sir. I have a privilege in introducing our CA A Shankar, sir. A Shankar is a chartered accountant by qualification and a very renowned advocate by profession. He is a practicing advocate for past 20 years in High Court of Karnataka and Supreme Court of India. He was designated as senior advocate by the High Court of Karnataka in the year November 2018. Before donning the advocate robes, he was practicing as chartered accountant for close to 20 years and mainly involved in representation and litigation matters. He is a gifted orator and has presented a number of papers in various seminars and conferences conducted by ICAI, both at regional and national level. He is an expert in search and survey matters and real estate transactions. His penchant for interpretation of statutes has resulted in several landmark cases which have been widely reported in ITR, CTR, DTR, taxmen, etc. He is extensively involved in wide and varied charitable activities. He is a member of several committees of well-known organizations, associations, and chambers. He is a reservoir of knowledge which he actively passes on to his juniors. A highly respected individual in society known for his affable manners and Shakespearean quotes. With this brief introduction, I present before you CA A Shankar, sir. I am also privileged to introduce another doyen of our profession, CA S Venkataramani, sir. CA S Venkataramani is a science graduate and qualified as chartered accountant in the year 1988. Before joining as partner at Messrs. Singhvi Dev and Unni, was into practice for a year. He has retired as partner from Messrs. SDU after 29 years. He is practicing in the field of indirect taxation and mainly involved in planning and representation at various levels. He is a sought-after speaker at various forums and has presented a number of papers both at state and national level. He has authored a few books: Handbook on Value-Added Tax, Audit under KVAT Laws, discussion paper on the key issues in proposed GST regime, and a few editions of background material on GST laws published by ICAI. He has served in various committees of ICAI, KSCAA, FKCCI, ASSOCHAM, KSCA, and BCIC. Presently, he is the member in State Advisory Committee for GST in Government of Karnataka. He is an independent director in Kirloskar Ferrous Industries Limited and ISMT Limited. With this brief introduction, I present before you CAS Venkataramani, sir. Over to you, sir.
Welcome to this final session. The format of this session will be that we'll start with opening remarks by both the speakers, and then the floor will be open for questions. We also have some predetermined questions, but due importance will be given to your questions first. If you do not get adequate questions for whatever reasons, then the questions what we have prepared, the speakers will answer. First, opening remarks. First, I request Venkat sir to give his opening remarks on the subject.
Bangalore branch of SARC for SCA, office bearers, my guru and mentor in many ways, Shankar sir, some of my juniors here, Prashant Kuber, some of my good friends all over. Jatin must have already spoken to you about 67, 68, 69, 132, 133. I just thought I will lay down some of the important issues on this inspection, search and seizure. Some of it very practical. Some of it I will leave it for Shankar sir to take it forward from where I leave. The two very important aspects we need to remember about inspection, search and seizure. All the provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 will apply to search provisions, not to inspection provisions. 1. 2. 165(5) of the code. Wherever you find the word magistrate, the word commissioner will be substituted insofar as the GST law is concerned. So we will have to be very, very careful when we deal with matters relating to search and seizure. It's important to understand why inspection, search or seizure takes place. Apparently, there is the reason to believe. There is this reason to believe. This phrase, reason to believe, is extremely important. But I was taught a few nuances of the inspection, search and seizure. The very important phrase that we have to be careful of is in Form GST INS 1. Please look at that form. Please look at that first sentence in that form, which says, whereas information and I have reasons to believe. This is how it starts. Therefore, the Joint Commissioner who authorizes an operation of inspection, search or seizure. First, an information has been presented to him. So who is this person who is presenting him the information becomes very crucial. Very crucial. Whether he on his own motion suo moto has this information or somebody else has presented this information to him, pursuant to which he has reasons to believe that there is understatement of tax, understatement of turnover, excess availment of input tax credits, suppression of turnover, evasion, avoidance, entitlement, call it by whatever name. So what is this information that is available before him? He has to state in this form. Generally what happens, he doesn't state the information that is available to him, but he ticks all the 5 boxes that are there in Form GST INS 1. Therefore, in one of the discussions that I was having with Prashant while replying to this issue, he said, under the income tax law, when replies are made or representations are made or when appearance before the concerned officer is taken up, etc., the first question that they will ask under income tax law is, what is the information in your possession pursuant to which a search has been conducted or a search has been authorized. So I was looking at this provision, information has been presented before me. This information having been presented before me is not there in the relevant section 67(1) or 67 subsection 2, but it is traceable to the form pursuant to Rule 139 sub Rule 1. Therefore, in the first place, before the Joint Commissioner of Commercial Taxes authorizes a search, there must be some information before him. It could be an anonymous complaint. It could be some data analytics where, I don't know, the IT wing of the GST would have given him some information, pursuant to which he is forming or framing this opinion, which in quotes is reason to believe that this search has been authorized. So please keep this at the back of your mind when you are writing replies to the inspections or notices issued pursuant to 67(1) or 67(2). You will have to look at this phrase, information presented before me. So before me is a very singular term or a singular word Therefore, that particular joint commissioner must have read through this, must have been convinced, must be convinced that there is reason enough for an inspection, search or survey to be authorized. If you look at part B and part C of the same form, the form has three parts to it, part A, part B and part C. Part A relates to inspection, part B relates to search, part C relates to confiscation. He cannot come to inspect and confiscate. It's not possible. He cannot come to inspect and he cannot seize. He cannot seize. Therefore, it is important for you to request, read the form at the time of entry. All other provisions, I presume, will be similar insofar as the Income Tax Act is concerned. Shankar sir will tell you about that. One, he has to come, he has to show you that warrant, he will say, please come and check me in person, please check my pockets. If there are witnesses, he will say, please check those witnesses as well, and we are not carrying anything with us, etc., etc. All that will be said. If there are independent witnesses, they will be introduced, their names and identities will be disclosed, etc. How many of us see or read this form? Because these boxes will be ticked, but the man will seize. He has no authorization to seize if he ticks only the first 5 boxes of part A. He cannot seize. He cannot search. He can only inspect. Ask for your books of account, take statements, etc., etc. And only if part B is authorized by the Joint Commissioner, then he can search. Part C will permit him to seize. And seizure normally must be where books, goods, things, etc. are secreted. If it is not secreted, but he has reason to believe that this information will be used at the time of furnishing replies, data, information, etc., then he can continue to seize, provided he is authorized under C. Questions generally arise whether when you come for inspection, part B and part C powers can be exercised. In my humble opinion, no. Different experts may have different views, but there are 1 or 2 cases where they have come for an inspection, subsequently taken an authorization to search and seize, which in my view wouldn't be possible. He can come, he can go back, he can come again the same day or next day, taking authorization for search and seizure. There are 2 aspects relating to goods liable for confiscation. Services cannot be confiscated. Goods liable for confiscation are in 2 parts. 1, perishable goods, non-perishable goods. If it is perishable goods, he can exercise the powers under 67(7) or is it 67(8)? Please let me know. 67(7) if I am right. And within that 8, right, it is 67(8). Yes, under 67(8), he has to act in accordance with 67 subsection 8 or release those goods on obtaining bond, payment of tax, security, etc. He can do any of these things. Goods which cannot be seized, but he wants to seize. He can lock, put a PO. PO is what we call as prohibitory order, restraining you from removal of those goods. Subject to payment of tax, furnishing of bond or security, it can be released. Otherwise, it cannot be done. So 2 important aspects in this form. Please remember that he cannot come to inspect, conduct a search and seize. He can come to search, seize, but conduct an inspection. That is possible. But the reverse is not possible under law. This is one. I don't know about income tax law. Shankar sir will take you further. 2 small issues, then I will stop. Many questions have come whether cash can be seized. You keep the judicial pronouncements aside. Judicial pronouncements only cement or uncement your decisions. So let's keep that aside for some time. You will say Delhi High Court, Andhra High Court, Gujarat High Court, all this is there. So don't worry about any of these courts. We will handle courts separately. Whether cash can be seized. Why? Why? Old 1,000 rupee notes and 500 rupee notes. Old. Well, that is prior to demand. Huh? Old. Old. Foreign currency. Foreign currency, IOUs. Money lender. Huh? So you can. So if I'm money lender having cash, it can be seized. If I'm a banker, so you agree with Shankar sir. We will leave that question to Shankar sir, but I will answer. I will not leave this premises without answering that. Now let's come to currency. Generally, you forget the judicial precedents. Currency is not seized. Generally, currency is not seized. Generally, under GST law, if a premises of a taxpayer is subject to inspection and search and seizure, jewelry can be seized. Cash is normally not seized because of the definition of the word money under the goods and service tax law. Generally, but of late, what has been happening, Shankar sir, when huge amounts of cash are found in the business premises, they inform income tax, police, whoever, etc. One of the court decisions, I don't know its implications on income tax law, if my memory is right, it's Kerala High Court. Kerala High Court said, there is no problem, you take the cash. However, after the statement is made and currency is properly counted, etc., the cash is to be deposited into the taxpayer's account. You cannot give back cash. You have to deposit it into his account. So the implications of that we don't know. It could be your cash, it could be Prashant's cash, it could be Prashant's family's cash, it could be whoever cash, we don't know. I could be having it in my business premise on that day. But the court said, if cash is found in the premises, you deposit it in the account. Seize, take it, deposit it into the account. Now its implication on income tax I don't know, but its implication on GST I can tell you that there will be no tax. The difficulty will be there because they will tell you 60% plus 120%, I don't know, they will tell you all percents. So this is the difficulty insofar as cash is concerned. Frequent questions have come that the officers who come for search force you to reverse or force you to effect payments. Who told you to get coerced? Don't get coerced. You say, I will not pay. You forget the circular issued by the board. Board circular says you cannot insist on payment. Board circular says that you cannot force a person to reverse any entry during the course of the search operation. So what they do, they will keep that statement open. They will tell you, you reverse this entry, and 15 minutes before the reversal, they will close this Panchnama or Mahazar or seizure report, what we call as. So why do you get bogged down by all this? I don't think you should get bogged down. You should simply tell him that I am not going to reverse. Matter closes there. That will end. He will threaten you saying under 132, I'll put you behind bars, 132, I will take you on a Friday evening, all this. Don't bother about anything. He cannot arrest you. Arrest cannot happen. Unless there is clear separation of that 100 to 200 lakhs, 200 to 500 lakhs, etc. In respect of transactions relating to classification, in respect of transactions relating to rate of tax, in respect of transactions relating to taxability of transactions found in the books of accounts, there can be no arrest. Don't get bogged down. He cannot arrest you. He cannot do anything. He can only threaten you. He can put you under pressure. He will put you under duress. He will not leave your premises till 9 p.m. I have come across a case where one of these taxpayers, Shankar sir, very important, what he did, he said there is a liability of about 7 crores. This is the figure that's been arrived at during the course of inspection, search and serve. What he did, he told his taxpayer to bring all his SB accounts, passbooks. He found some money there. He forced him to transfer that money into the firm's account, and from the firm got him to effect payment. I said, why did you do? He said, no, otherwise he won't let me go. I said, you should have told him, I will not do it. So under pressure, I think you always have a right to record the statement that you are put under duress, you are put under coercion, you are under pressure and you will not do these transactions, but you need to have the courage of conviction to stand up. So these are few points I thought I will commence with, leave it to Shankar sir to take it forward from here, and thereafter leave the floor open for questions. Thank you very much. Then we take the question. They are here to listen to you, sir.
Very good evening to you.
Good evening, sir.
At the very outset, I wish to place my greatest respects and gratitude to my mentor, Sarvasri Suresh Venkatesan, who has been a pillar of strength in my journey in the field of taxation. My respects to him. He would have probably talked on this subject like no one could have. He had knowledge in his mind, wit in his heart, and above all, solution for every client. Whatever may be the problem, his answer used to be, leave the problem in my room, you go do business. You have cash, make more cash. If you have goods, keep more goods which are not declared. Don't worry, the law is the law. You'll always find solutions in what is the meaning of a comma, what is the meaning of a semicolon, how the law is to be interpreted. And he always had the tenacity to find something wrong in the system of technical aspects in the various procedures that are done by the various authorities. The topic today is search and seizure. What is search? What is seizure? When search can happen? When can somebody seize? What is prohibitory order? Whether they can seize stock under the Income Tax Act, whether they can seize cash. These are all well settled positions today. Not much to explain. But to briefly tell you all, stock is very rarely seized, unlike in GST. Cash is always seized. Notwithstanding the fact that you will be able to show proper accountancy to it. The joy the officer gets in seizing cash, even if it is accounted and flash to the CBDT, recently 92 crores cash was seized. But ultimately, no assessment will happen, something will happen and it will all be refunded. It's a question of waiting game. And I always tell people in a search, 3 people have to be very strong to succeed. First, the assessee must be strong. He should not get moved by his wife. The biggest problem, with utmost respect to my ladies sitting here, is the amount of attachment when a search and seizure takes place to jewellery is beyond the language of expression. I don't know what happens. The amount of psychological pressure an income tax search team puts on the system, we will seize the jewellery and go. Wherever the assessee's wife has told, you can take and go, that size is a failure. Wherever that assessee's wife is a weak person, that search is a success. Based on, in order to avoid family tranquility and peace of mind, you will find more peace with officers than at home because the jewellery is missing. That jewellery is something which is very, very emotionally attached to a lady. That's the way our culture is grown. And this weakness is tremendously exploited by the officers. They know that even if small one hairpin goes away, next 5 years that man has to undergo the torture of saying the hairpin is gone, hairpin is gone, hairpin is gone. So it's very, very, so he probably feels the officers much more easier to handle than the hairpin problem. Set you aside this and say, the first is the assessee's wife cooperates. Second is, the assessee's auditor must be strong. Sometimes in a Panchanama in the search related, there's one column called the following other important persons assisted during the search. And in those days, it was not off late, in those days they used to allow the auditor to come to the search premises and help. And he has to help and sign that place that he assisted. Most of the auditors are scared to sign. They will first not come. They will say, you handle it somehow. When the officer is not there, they are all tigers, lions, don't worry, we are there, nothing will happen. Once you call them in front of an officer, they all become small cats. Madbudi sir, please do it. It's okay, declare. 95% of them, there are always 5%. So we need the auditor to be strong to know his basic foundation. His foundation is what? There is nothing in law to say that you have to declare or say statements that are suitable to the person recording the statement. The first duty each one of you all have to understand and responsibility which you all have is that it is the duty of the officer to record whatever you all state. He has no business not to record what you all state. If you say that I am an idiot, he has to record that. He cannot say that I will not record it. Whatever may be the circumstance which you may say. But his duty is to record what you say. And what you want to arrive at a conclusion subsequently is a very different aspect. Whether it is fair, foul, statement to be recorded, accept, all that is different. But he cannot record your statement. Mostly what happens is, the officer puts the question, he writes the answer, you only sign. So, a very interesting experience I had in the year maybe 88, 89, when I was with my mentor. One search on a money lender took place. He was by and large financing trucks, lorries. So he used to sit in a very posh room those days itself. Behind him there was a nice cupboard in glass. And in the glass cupboard there were about 500 nice leather pouches. Each pouch, if you remove, will contain the lorry, RC book, etc. Because he's financing lorries, all those details very neatly 1, 2, 3, 4 numbered. So if you come for repayment, what is your number? 442, he'll take 442, make entry. Like a banking he was doing, because he was a big money lender of those times. So I was just joined practice. My mentor, my boss said, go, assist, let us see how you learn. One of my very early searches in which I had the privilege of, there's no mobile, no pager also those days. So the only way you have to do is the tring, 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 landline you have to call people. So we went to his place, just small. That fellow was asking questions. He found one Xerox copy of one RC book. It was in the name of Sadat Ali Khan. I remember it because it's one of my very early experiences which I can never forget. Sadat Ali Khan. So the officer was telling, you have financed it. नहीं भाई, नहीं साहब, ये सब लेदर है ना, वो सब फाइनेंस किया, कुछ नहीं किया. No, I am telling you financed it. Sir, I am telling you I have not financed it. See the Xerox copy. Will anybody, what you are simply saying some paper, some broker would have come, it is lying here, that's all. No, you have financed it. That going on for 20 minutes. Then that officer told me, please tell your client to accept. So I told him, sir, that was some 25,000 those days, you accept it. Hey, chup, tum kya malum hai? He said, I don't know anything. I'm after all a very raw entrant into the system. 1 hour went on. Then I said, I will call Venkateshan, sir. They permitted me. I called office. Venkateshan took, hello? He said, yes, hello. Sir, some stupid fellow. He banged the phone. So he is not taking the phone. He is telling me, stupid fellow. That means I should not call him when there's a problem. I understood that very late. First I want to get out of the problem. I got his landline. A stupid fellow. He didn't even hear me and back to the wrong number. He told and left it. Literally wrong number he told. Wrong number, stupid fellow. Again try, he is not taking. Then I realized, so what to do? Then again officer and him, I said, I can't help it, sir. Then after half an hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, on the Sadat Ali Khan going on, I am telling him, chup tumko malum nahi kya, तीसरा raid हो रहा है मेरा. I know what to handle raid officers. Okay, you don't know, you just come. When you joined when? You joined 1 year back. 1 year, bacha aap beto. He said, ठीक है साहब. Then he told them, see sir, you want, I will give one beautiful explanation. You want to write that I financed. The officer was very elated. Yeah, you're going to tell me that, yes sir, I'm going to tell you. Only one condition, you must write my answer fully. I will write. What is it you will answer? Okay, look closer. Vidhan Soda belongs to me. Sell it. Appropriate whatever tax you want. And give me the balance refund. He said that. The officer said, kya bol rahe? Sir, this is not mine. You're telling me mine. I'm telling that is mine. You write it, na? I'm telling you it belongs to me. How do you say it doesn't belong to me? It belongs to me. Please write it. Another 1.5 hours. From 3. He says, unless you write it, I will not. Going on, that officer in him, I am just a minute. Look, I'm 63 now, I was then 25. So 40 years of grey hair experience was not there. I simply was waiting, watching the fun and trying to call my boss. Ultimately, he did not yield. He said, we'll put a PO and go. Put whatever you want. Till you write this, I will not sign any paper. You ask me a question, I am answering. This is my answer. You ask me a question, you have financed this RC book. I said, this Xerox I have not financed, but however, Vidhan Sudha belongs to me. Please sell it. You write like that. If you don't write it, I will not sign. It is my right to answer. It's your right to ask questions. So ultimately, Ravi Balan was then the additional commissioner. Okay, they put PO. Next day morning, we all, as usual, before these fellows come, those days were all much more easier than these days. So he came to office. My boss said, see, very sharp. What you useless fellow, stupid, he told me also. And then I asked the gentleman, very nice person, sir, what is it that you would have achieved by it? That is the answer that made me a good lawyer in search. He said, if he had recorded it, it is very easy for sir to say that I am of unsound mind and the entire recording should be withdrawn. Nobody will say Vidhan Sudha belongs to me. Anybody says that Vidhan Sudha belongs to me and some officer writing it, it very clearly says it is not, it's literally bordering on lunatic and is absolutely unstable and unsound mind. That is what you must make them write. You must write all answers in such a way that they will not, it is, he said, what is that? It is my duty. You showed him, you said, in morning you gave me one paper, now show me that paper. The paper duties of the officer. Please record whatever the SC says. Is it written? Sir, I am recording, you write, sir. Another very interesting experience. This fellow was an expert transporter. He was, those days, what he was doing was, he could go throughout Karnataka without touching main road. He was in the business of actually moving liquor, transporting liquor, fair and foul. So he was caught, raid going on. Turmeric was there. Maybe 4 or 5 tons in his godown. So he said, what it is? I said, somebody has asked me to transport. Normally I transport liquor, somebody has told me to transport turmeric, it is lying here. Oh, the name, some name he gave. No, it is all your turmeric. No, sir, it is not my turmeric, sir. I am telling you your turmeric. See the presence of mind. Okay, sir, Liklo, it is my turmeric. So everybody was, I was shocked. No, don't write like that. So he wrote turmeric worth about some X amount of tons, and then they valued it, came to some, those days, some 4,25,000 rupees. He wrote it. Then next day morning, I asked him, what is, after all, he was a student, learning process. Sir, you told like that, what is the presence? No, now see, I got 100 acres, 400 lakhs worth turmeric seized. I can show at least some 40-50 lakhs agricultural income. See, seizure itself is 4 lakhs. So how much agricultural income I can show and avoid tax? So the presence of mind of an assessee. First is the assessee's wife, second the assessee's auditor, third is the presence of mind of the assessee. These 3 things are in place, every search will be a failure. There will not be a single search that can succeed. I can go on giving anecdotes that will probably give you all confidence how to address the issue rather than reading 132 reason to believe. Unlike in GST, information in possession, it is not information presented. Information in possession is different from presented. Laws have been tweaked to suit the convenience of the process under which they are evaluating. Another very interesting search. This is after a lot of experience of mine. 2 contractors were searched. Next day they came, both of them, to me. So I told them, don't come to me. If you go tomorrow and tell you are going to Shankar, they will tell you don't go, he'll put you on roads, you will be in doldrums. Please do not go to him at all. I said, that's what they will tell you. So first you go tomorrow to the officer, tell them that this is what you are planning to engage me. And if you are okay after their whatever they are going to tell you, then you come back next day to me and then I will take up the brief. I don't want to waste my time studying your file. I don't know your file, but I am sure the tax liability is 0. I can mark my words for this. Sir, how we are telling about it because we don't know our problem. Some mistake they will make. We'll have to find out the mistake. Ultimately, they are human beings and they are doing routine. See, normally, a person doing a repetitive act is bound to make mistake than a one-time act. After all, he's been doing searching again and again, they are bound to be mistake. One column will not fill, one para will not fill. So many small, minute technical effect will happen. So both of them went and came back next day and said, sir, what you said was 100% correct. So one of them said, if you don't mind, sir, both of them very big contractors. Those days I'm talking 20 years back doing 300, 400 crore turnover. One of them said, sir, if you don't mind, I will go to somebody else. I said, that is why I told you, I don't want you all to feel bad later. The other fellow told me, no sir, I have told the officer income, right, what, good, bad, ugly. I like your face, so I want to be with you. So okay, then they finished the 134 statement next day and all happened, everything happened. They made the other fellow declare 100 crores. What they did? They, like what Venkat sir was telling, they simply made him put one entry in the books, debit expenses, credit payable 60 crores. Some 2 entries like that they put and made 100 crore declaration and took and happily leaved him. The other fellow, they harassed him for 1 week, he withstood it. He said, I will not declare. They said, we'll write an appraisal for you for 500 crores. So I told him, why 500, make it 5,000. 5,000 is easier to win than 500. So you write whatever you want, you write. It's your prerogative to write. Zeros have no value in life. So they wrote some 193 crores or something for him. And assessment started for both of them. In the assessments, for the fellow who had declared, he declared that money and happily added some 50 lakhs, 1 crore and closed the assessment. For this fellow, they started deep inquiry. That is where fortune favors the brave. One very fair officer of extraordinary integrity, this man was more from the Mangalore belt, Udupi. His assessments were in Goa, Belgaum. So one extremely competent officer and an extremely fair commissioner central, one lady officer was there. And then he went, he inquired everything, we gave him all the details, lot of running around. Ultimately he wrote a report saying that, sorry sir, we can't even add 1 crore. Everything is fine. These details have all been furnished. Everything was collaborated by affidavits, proofs. It's a lot of effort on the subject. But done, and then ultimately the commissioner called, who's this? They said so and so, so call him. No, it would be very embarrassing to make 185 crore zero. At least except for 10 crores and pay 3 crore tax, I'll close it. Madam, if you drop penalty, I'll ask him to close it. Any contract will have some voucher, bogus. We closed it, assessment was completed, penalty dropped, everything happy. In the meanwhile, the other fellow who declared, they issued penalty notice and threatened him to levy penalty of 40 crores. He came running to me. I told you, don't declare, you are not able to understand. No, I told you, these fellows will promise you the moon and ultimately take you down to hell. So, then I said, what to do now? Assessments are over 6 months back. You're already belated. What is the plan of action? All of you all can think. I said, file a belated appeal. Keep the penalty proceedings in abeyance. How to file, sir? What is the challenge? I said, search itself is invalid. You do not have reason to believe. The recording of reason to believe by the principal commissioner is based on borrowed satisfaction. The warrant of authorization has not been signed by the principal commissioner. They asked me, how do you know it? This is my allegation, prove it was signed. If it is signed, gone. It is my job to make allegation, it's your job to prove that what I am saying is wrong. I put some 8 points, filed an appeal and wrote a letter to the officer to keep the penalty proceedings in abeyance. He had already paid tax. Then the client said, what to do? Then you wait, don't worry about it. You have no case, search is all valid. I am sure about it, but then in India is a country of glorious uncertainties. So definitely something or the other will come in your favor to take you forward and make sure that you don't get into all this. What will come, sir? I said, I don't know. If I had known, I will do it. Honestly, I don't know. But I have confidence something will happen. What, sir? You don't know means you are giving so confidence without knowing. Honestly, Baba, I don't know. His father was a very old man. So I said, I really don't know. I told you not to declare. These fellows are not trustworthy. But you declared, I think you paid the tax. Now it's my job to get you refund. That's why you come to me now. No, sir, my job only penalty, sir. I don't want refund, he said. Then we examined the file. One very interesting point arose, which was very, very, very. I had a very colleague of mine by name Venkatesh, my senior's name only, because he's practiced independently. We were analyzing with him. He found one of the finest points that we could put to succeed on penalty. he found the date of, the search was on 27th of December. So he found the books on 15th of December, installment of advance tax, without that 60 crore disallowance. As if that entry is not there, profit would have been up by 60 crore, they had paid advance tax. So when he was analyzing the book, he found as a professional that yes, without that entry we have paid advance tax, that means the entry has been put by him. Why will you pay, when the book is showing 30 crore profit, why will you pay tax, advance tax on 90 crores? From that I said, okay, this is a good point to take it forward. We wrote a wonderful appeal explaining completely that the entire thing has only been a thought process of the department by putting entries into this. And later the officer, how do you say they put the entries? I said, otherwise, when the book is showing a 30 crore profit, who will declare 90 crores? 90 crore already is there. You are made it 30 crores and taking tax for 90 crores. That's what you are doing, bogus entry, which is not permitted, but you did it. So then, anyhow you have to pay tax on 60 crores. Only penalty, sir. Anyhow I would have paid tax on it. I have already paid tax also on it. So what? So don't worry, wait. Then what is known as art of adjournment. Now, before CIT appeals, 6 months, 1 adjournment. 2nd month, 2 adjournment. 3rd month, another adjournment. Then 1 year adjournment. Then officer transferred. Then go talk to the inspector and say, don't post for 6 months. So kept on like that. It's already 5 years gone. Then Government of India, I told you, glorious uncertainty, Government of India came with a beautiful scheme called the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme, and said people who go in that cannot pay interest, penalty will be dropped, everything blah blah blah. So I told him, see, now is the right time. You knew you paid your taxes, you had made the income, you had paid advance tax also. Now you go into the scheme and tell that officer that you are agreeable to it. Sir, refund will come. Refund will come, man, don't worry. How much will come? Wait, man, go and see. I'm telling you, ask your regular auditor to come, prepare, work out the mechanics of the scheme. Ultimately, they work because under the scheme, interest is not to be charged. Penalty is to be waived. So automatically what happened, whatever tax and penalty has paid, some 18 crores or 19 crores, refund came to him. So now I told him, now you must do one very important thing. Don't forget this. Most important thing you have to go is, you must go to the officer who initiated penalty and thank him. But for his initiating, if you had dropped the penalty, you would not have got 18 crores. Because you are happy with the tax, you are willing to pay interest. So please thank him. If you want, you give him a nice gift. Don't worry, give him some jewelry for his wife. No problem. Not corruption, out of what you call goodwill. Had he not initiated penalty, you would not have come back to me. Had you not come back to me, all these things would not have happened. Ultimately, you landed up, you got back 18, 19 crores of rupees. Now you do one thing, you will be raided again sometime later, I am telling you, because the officers won't leave you. Now you go with this 18 crore refund, buy some 100 acre land in Gauri Bidnoor, I told him. He said, why Gauri Bidnoor, sir? I said, up to Devanalli is already developed, so you buy it in Gauri Bidnoor. Why, sir, Gauri Bidnoor? Okay, anywhere you want to buy far away, I told him. And he went and bought 100 acres. He said, why? 100% one more search will come. And after 1.5 years, again he was searched. The department won't leave easily. They lost some 20 crores, they searched him. I said, what is that Gauri Bidnoor to do? We will again fight for another 15 years. And by the time that 15 years happened, that Gauri Bidnoor would have become part of Bangalore, that 19 crores would have become 1900 crores. You can go and thank the officer once again, saying that once more you raided, so I made one more success. So always search must be looked at from a perspective of an opportunity for a client to make money. It is not a deterrent. It is a, what you call, blessings of the Almighty for you to make more money. Every person, 99% of the people who have been searched under the Income Tax Act have become well off in life. This is the most important thing. And the 4th example I'll wind up, because my problem with me is being a lawyer, give you a mic, keep on talking, maybe fair, foul, interesting, not interesting. One more last interesting anecdote. One more interesting search. There was a specially abled child for that lady. She was running a medical college. So they came to her house. I said, you got 150 admission, you would have collected so much, multiply so much, you have to declare 180 crores. She said, no, not possible, sir. Being a lady, put pressure, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the night. these are recent ones, no access to professionals. So ED is very powerful these days, we'll give it to ED. And some 30-40 crore cash also was found. She said, cash found, I'll declare, otherwise I can't declare. She kept on postponing. Ultimately, fed up, she said, what do you want? We want you to give, okay, take it. Then one officer who thought was very, very intelligent, that is where we should never stop them with their work. What he did, he went to the college, brought printouts of all the students admitted for 4 years and gave it to her and said, you write some number and ultimately total it to 180. He said, okay, anyhow I have agreed to declare that much. She took Venkat 10 lakhs, Prashant 11 lakhs, Kuber 8 lakhs. Some figure, she kept on writing all the names, total to 180 and then gave it off. Those officers happily went. Then after next, they are my good regular friends. I know about them. They came, I know they will come next day morning. They came. I said, don't worry. Only one question. Did they switch off the CCTV? No. Don't worry. You bring 20 rupee paper. We'll file an affidavit. So we filed an affidavit about the event. And after the event is over, you all come. I'll tell you all what I did. I can't put it on camera. Okay? I'll tell you all what is the fine application you have to do. No, don't need to switch it off. Let it be there. So, we filed an affidavit. It all went quietly. They agreed, declared everything over. Reply must learn to reply long letters. Don't write short letters to the officers. Repeat it. Normally we write, Prashant, I taught him. If I write 20, he's writing 40 pages. Okay. Now the latest is Madhu sitting behind him. If I tell him write 30 pages, he'll write 60 pages. So the longer the letter, the better for the client. Sometime repetition, sometime cut and paste case laws, sometime write some irrelevant things also. Doesn't make a difference. You have to fill pages. Why? Because difficult for people to read 60 pages than 2 pages. If you give the 2 pages submission in 2 pages, it's easy for the officer to read the 2 pages. If you give him 60 pages, after some time he'll get bored, he'll skip some line and then you take a chance in life. He wrote a long page, then we went for settlement commission. We told them, see, all this is all very open, very clear, that it is not recorded. They produced that document as if it is found during search. And we produced the evidence. It is not produced by search, but it was only made to write. We filed the video of the CCTV. Because it was a specially able child at home, the department didn't have the courage to switch off the CCTV. So see, where God gives goodwill for people and bless them is very, very interesting. Different cases will have different set of opportunities. So for last 3 hours she's been writing name, amount, it is completely captured in the TV. So we filed before the settlement commission, how can this be seized? It is actually forgery. You are asking me to write something in terms of the Indian Penal Code, it amounts to forgery, it is not a seizure. Settlement commission was very, very clear and backed it up with, we have said so in affidavit to the officer itself within 10 days of the search. They asked the officer, what is it? Is there affidavit? Is there? Bring the affidavit. So they brought the file, affidavit was there. So they said nothing doing. They declared 36 crores cash and that's all, and they deleted off the 150 crore addition. So the presence of mind of an SSC and the amount that you all educate them to give them confidence. No professional should ever feel that there is no solution to search. Search is a deterrent. I have been telling the search of. In fact, I have to share a very interesting experience. About 2 months back, the entire department of search and seizure of Karnataka and Goa, the chief was a very good friend of mine, was a ADI long back when I started my practice. He is now the DG. He wanted me to teach the officers what are the mistakes they are committing. So I address all the officers and tell them this is the mistake you are committing and that is the reason why your searches are a failure. What are the actual mistakes you are committing? And then the officer said, you are giving all your trade secret. No sir, they will commit more mistakes, don't worry. I have given them sufficient ideas by which they will do 8 good things and do 2 wrong things. Everything that you study in a search related issue, search, seizure, survey, etc., is to read. One more anecdote. What's the time now? What's it now in you? 5:15. 5:15. Okay, another 2 or 3 minutes I'll take, because you have to give them to ask questions. Your presence of mind in reading statements is very, very important. I was arguing a matter in the tribunal on a survey matter. Very interesting. 30 people, it's a contractor, he has done 100% not correct thing. He has transferred money to 30 people and probably drawn cash out and claimed as expense, which probably most of us will be doing in accounts. Everybody, any chartered account, you want cash, you will transfer some 44, 88% scheme. Somewhere you will offer and then close it. I'm talking early 90s. All these things were not. So the officer has recorded. What is your name? Shantappa mentioned guy. Where is your bank account? Syndicate bank account. What is the nature of business? Contract. What is your relationship with Shankar? He is a principal contractor. How much work you did for him this year? I don't remember. Maybe some figure. Some 10 standard questions. All 40 people have answered. 148 notice is reopened. Those days no, this 153C and all. Then commissioner did not give relief, it went to tribunal. So tribunal, one very interesting member said, what is this case? There is no case at all. All this, all fraud. What is it? No, my lord, hear me for 5 minutes and then I will tell you whether there is a case or not. Then I had to say something. Sir, I want to tell one poem, sir, I said. What are the two cases? Listen, sir, first you listen to the poem, then I will connect it. There's a thing called connection. Very, very, very jovial member those days. I said, sir, all of us, I don't know Kannada, you are from North India, Maharashtra, I'll tell you English poem only. First poem we read in the school is, Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jill came tumbling low, whatever we said. This is what is the poem. What does that do with the case? Now you see all the recordings, sir. Identical 40 people, 40 questions, identical answers. Is it humanly possible, sir? Only 40 children can say Jack and Jill went up the hill, the same thing. Otherwise, it is a fraud only, sir, according to me. How can 40 people say, my name is so-and-so? So on. Everything is same. That means they have prepared everything and taken signature, sir. This is not at all it has any basis, should be thrown out. If this is thrown out, there is nothing. He started reading one by one. Then he asked them, what is it? Sir, I got one more point to make, sir. What is it? Now, my friend argued yesterday something. Both of us are there. Ask him to repeat it same. Verbatim, he should repeat what he did yesterday. Is it possible for him, sir? He cannot repeat what he said. 40 different people are repeating the same thing. Is it humanly possible? That is a proof it is fabricated. So, when statements are given, as professionals, we have to look at it with a very microscopic eye, because in the pressure of things, in the difficult times, they all do things which are not very law-abiding, but then that's the way they have their own pressures to succeed. I'm not saying they are right or wrong, but then that's how the system functions. So it's our duty to wait patiently, and wait patiently, you will find solution. The entire aspect which when you do a search is to be followed on this important dictum. Please note, you have to mitigate the present and litigate the future. It's very, very important. What's happening there, you try to mitigate by soft words. But be confident enough to litigate in the future, because you're bound to succeed. Because nothing happens. From the time I started my practice, there was a voluntary disclosure scheme. Then there was a, in 92, there was one foreign exchange immunity scheme. Then there was a Karvivad Samadhan scheme. Then some IDS immunity scheme. Then the Vivad Se Vishwas scheme. Every 5 years, the government is bound to bring one scheme for all these persons to reduce their tax liability, penalty, etc. And money value will far exceed. As I told you in the 86 that, that contractor who was very bold enough to answer, what is it? He had a very interesting experience. What they did to him, night they took him to, how many of you all know KG Road? Kempegowda Road? No. There was one theatre called Santosh Nartaki Sapna. On top of it, there was one foot-over bridge. That's the first foot-over bridge in Bangalore. 86, they took him to that place. I'm given to understand, he told me, they took one gun and told him, if you don't declare, I'll shoot. So, Naturally, he declared 3 crores of rupees. Next day, we retracted thanks to my help my boss gave me. The officer was very furious, you are retracting. Then my boss told him, don't worry, there's so much money with you, go buy properties all around Bangalore. He bought some 5 acres near Bannerghatta Road, some 40 acres in Ramavalli and 20 acres in Hoskote. We litigated from 86 till 2007. In 2007, it became some 10 lakhs or 7 lakhs based on factual aspects. In the meanwhile, the property became 400 crores. So, when you advise a client, one, you have to advise keeping in mind the present situation, how to overcome his business. No solutions are automatic. There can't be any repetitions. There is nothing to repeat. Each one has an independent case. You have to evaluate the plus and minus of the case independently. You may like it, you may not like it, but you have to apply your mind. What is the best solution for that problem? There is nothing called repetition. All that we teach our colleagues in our offices to think, to read, to stand on your legs. To stand on your legs, I want to give one last explanation of what my boss thought on his legs, not connected with search. But one of the most fascinating experience I ever felt in my life on what is thinking on your legs. All of you all know that coffee estate did not have wealth tax. But there's one thing called coffee points those days. What is coffee point? When a coffee estate person grows coffee, those days he has to give it only the coffee board. And coffee board will determine some number of points. Number of points means for your supply, you are entitled to 840 points. And after the coffee season is over, they will value per point, you will get some 83 rupees, 143 rupees, depending on what global level they have sold. And that money will get encashed for you all. As and when you keep supplying, they'll give you some number of points. Some formula of coffee board. This is how the coffee board was actually doing coffee business those days. The issue was whether the coffee points valuation is liable to wealth tax or not. On 31st March you have supplied, money has not come, is it liable to wealth tax or not? Department contention is, no, it is a wealth. It is something which you can encash later. So it is liable to wealth tax on estimation basis. Our argument is no, it is not wealth because it is not determinable on the day. They may give me 1 rupee. What they give me after 8 months cannot be worked back and taken on 31st March. On the valuation date, I had no wealth. So we filed an appeal to the Commissioner of Wealth Tax, 10 years appeal. Those days reopening was for 10 years. And amount involved were all, those days 80 rupees, 90 rupees in those 10 cases. So total amount was 900 rupees. Wealth tax appeal filing fee was 5 rupees. The name of the case was Diamond Rose Matthias Prabhu. She was the mother-in-law of Oscar Fernandez, then the Union Minister. So her husband had the property. Her son took one double-barrel gun and threw her out of the estate. So the tax liability on her, he is enjoying the estate. So lot of most difficult circumstances, my boss said, no, we have to help this case. So we filed an appeal to the tribunal. Then one day we did a lot of research on how not to pay tax in this case. In our office, we have a very interesting habit. That's one other important thing. All of you all have to love dogs if you have to become successful in income tax. If you don't like dogs, you will not succeed in income tax. Reason is very simple. Our office was on first floor. Ground floor had a house where they had 2 huge Dobermans. So at about 8:39, the owner of the dog will come and meet my boss and tell him, sir, he'll say like this. That means the Doberman can be left open, and then as the staircase has to go into the common area where the dog will be roaming, none of us can go. That means we are sleeping at home in the office. That's the indication for us, me and Uday. He had one assistant by name Uday, and Uday was a typist, and I am the person assisting him in research. We know that night we are not going home, we sleep in the office table. So the dogs only taught me a lot of income tax because we did wonderful research that day on what is the principle of known as spec succession is. In England, if some king, uncle, son, somebody, faraway relation, has to become the king, who should murder whom and how that murder should take place, and then how the kingdom will fall on that king, is what is known as a speculative succession. This is called spec successionist. 128 ITR, if I read, Pett and Company, Bombay. I could read it, beautiful concept of what is a spec successionist. So we said these points which are getting is equal to spec succession, highly speculative, not liable for wealth tax. So we prepared the whole night, no great xeroxing. We are allowed to type out all papers. That's why Uday used to always be with us. And we did a wonderful paper book and went next day and then filed. Then the best thing that happened to me in my life, which taught me what is importance of persuasion. We gave that. The other side was one very, very competent opponent called Punia. The judge sitting were Bal Subramaniam and Puri, the tribunal. Amazing people. So before my boss could start, I used to carry files those days and not ready to argue. The other man said, "Sir, wealth tax 70 into 10, 700 rupees, 7,500 files pending in the tribunal. Venkateshan has half the work in the tribunal. He has come with small appeals. Is it fair for him? We have given his 800-acre estate free, no wealth tax on the 800-acre estate. On this 800 rupees he is coming, when 800-acre estate, each costing probably 2 lakhs per acre. 16 crores we have given exemption on 800 rupees is coming. Is it fair for him? So your lordship, your honor should not even touch the file. You should simply dismiss it. I don't want to get into any merits of the argument." Bal Subramaniam was very impressed with his argument. He said, "What Venkateshan? 7,500 those days in late 80s, 7,500 was a great number of pending appeals. What is this? So much pressure is there. We had prepared this file." So he was grumbling, what to do? Then something struck him. That is what is thinking on the legs. He said, "I want to tell a joke." He said, Bal Subramaniam is a very smart member. He said, no joke, we don't want your joke. Then he looked at Puri. Puri was from Calcutta. Very interesting, my lord. It revolves around the case and a joke. You will give me relief if you hear the joke. I told you this man will not leave, will bring something into the case. Bal Subramaniam retorted, "You should tell a joke without the case." "No, my lord, a joke on the case. You please hear me for 1 minute and then decide whether you have to give me relief or not." No, we are not, we are dismissing yours." Then Puri was a senior man, he said, "Okay, tell the joke, let's hear it." This is exactly the words which I read every day today also, it's on my drawer. And in my old office where I sit in Plaza office, it's on my table also. My boss was a bald man, and I don't know how many of you all know Venkateshan. He had a large beard, okay. I need to explain him because the joke was on himself. He said, "If your honors were to decide whether Mr. Venkateshan is bald or not, your lordship should look at my head and see whether there is hair or not. Merely because I got a beard, it doesn't compensate for the loss of hair on my head. Estate exemption is Government of India, means part is legal thing, you all should give me relief. Look at my beard, not at my baldness." Is the exact thing he told them. All written submissions are there, my 1 minute over. After 2.5 months, we were so happy to receive an order that our appeals were all allowed. So the point is, thinking on the legs is one of the very important thing, especially during search. If you are able to assist, follow 3 important R's before you reply. Most important thing in a search are the 3 R's. An officer will ask you to look at a paper. That's what they always throw. Look at this paper, look at this paper. Please re-look at it. Don't believe in. Calmly read. You have the duty, you are right. Re-look at the paper. Don't answer immediately after re-looking. Second R is reflect on what you have seen. Re-look, reflect. And after a few minutes, 10 minutes, respond. Re-look, reflect, respond is the mantra of success of a siege. As usual, I will conclude by saying Lord Jasper's statement. A mind starts functioning when a child is born and stops when it faces an audience like you all. Thank you, gentlemen, for giving me a patient hearing. Go on, but anyhow, basically I hope I have not bored you all, given you all some thought on these things.
This one, visit statements are printed by the department and they are signed by the SSC. Whether this printed statement will constitute legally? In GST. This 122 test purchases happens and visit statements are printed and brought by the department along with the their
So they
own
carry it
statement.
along with them.
They carry along with them and they only the signature of the assessee is taken, everything is filled by the department, whether this is a valid statement.
I'm not commenting whether it is valid or not valid. Let's not get into it. I go back to what Shankar sir said. I want you to write there what happened, because you are permitted to write and not just sign. Because he is carrying a printed statement, some of it may be applicable to you, some of it may not be applicable to you, some of it will be fill up the blanks. It will be fill up the blanks. You write what happened, no? You write he gave me denominations of rupees 100. I want you to write what happened there. Don't blindly sign what comes by way of test purchase. 6712 is a provision relating to test purchase. Penalty is under 122, one of those 21 offenses. So don't blindly sign that. I want you to write. When you write, you say, I said I wanted to issue an invoice and he was the one who said who doesn't want an invoice. Who stops you from writing that? Write it.
No, we can write it, but the assessee in that moment is not aware of it.
Teach him.
He will sign and he will.
That's what he said. Teach him. Teach him.
After post signature of those statements, he comes to the audit.
Retract.
We can retract, okay.
Retract.
Okay.
At the first available opportunity, you retract.
Okay.
See, I'll give you one instance. Shankar gave 10. Shankar sir gave 10. I'll give one. There was this jeweler in Bangalore. I think one of you may be consulting for him also. There was this jeweler in Bangalore. His business was twofold. Normal jewelry, hallmarked, etc., etc. He also had imitation jewelry. So in his statement, while they were taking stock, he was trying to tell them, prompt them, I have jewelry, it's normal, and I also have imitation jewelry. They refused to accept that, because today's imitation jewelry will not appear to be fake. It will appear to be near, hallmark jewelry. So they refused to accept this fact. So he said, all right, I'm making an effort to make you understand that some of it is not jewelry, but imitation jewelry. So they insisted, they wrote the statement. Then they arrived at whatever value of stock. They said, this is your tax, you have to pay it. So he wrote there saying, I don't have the money to pay the tax. You please impound my jewelry which will be equal to tax. So he picked up all imitation jewelry and gave it to them. He said, take it and go. They took it and went. They took it and went. 1 week later, this man took one DD and went back there. He said, you took all this jewelry. Now I borrowed money. I am willing to pay this tax. Return my jewelry. He said, I will call somebody to evaluate whether this is jewelry or fake. Then I will take it back. What happened later is another matter. But we are on camera. We are on camera. So what happened later is another matter. But all I can tell you is Commissioner called me and told me, please tell your SSC to do what it takes. He would have lost his job. Because this man insisted, just as Shankar said, it was switched on, saying that there was imitation jewelry. This man did not use it. He impounded, he took it, he said, okay, take it and go. 15 days later, he borrowed money, put it in his account, took the amount of tax interest penalty, said, return my jewelry now. Now, this is the part. Therefore, whenever an inspection takes place under 6712 test purchase, please educate all your clients, saying that they should not sign what is printed. You sign, but overleaf. You write what happened to that transaction. I want you to write and then sign. If you don't have the opportunity, please write what happened subsequently as quickly as possible as early as possible. It will help you save
We
estimates.
can send one more letter. That
Please
is
send it next day.
Yeah.
Just as Shankar said, next day anyway client will come. You sit and write. Yes.
And one more thing, this for late filing of the returns, the officer visiting the premises of the client, and they have a visit statement which they are recording, and then they are calling for books of account to be produced at the offices, whether it is valid in law.
Say I will not produce, no? You ask him whether you are proper officer under 2 subsection 91 read with 167. You ask him.
They are jurisdictional officers.
168, sorry, yeah?
Yeah, they are jurisdictional officers. They have visited the premises and they are taking a statement that we will be filing the return.
You ask him, give me the authorization, I will give you the books, no? Give me the authorization, I will give you the books. So you can't come make a record of that I have not filed my return and say, give me balance sheets and P&L account from 2017. So you write, no? You must have the courage of conviction to write, I will not give.
No, what I'm asking is, what will they do after we have taken the books to their offices?
Then he will tell you to go and meet him.
Okay. No, for meeting there should be a summon.
Need not be.
Need not be.
Need not be. You have given him all the data, he'll send you a normal notice to say you come and meet me. Why do you want to go? Say you are not authorized to ask for the data. 61 does not authorize, 61 is based on the portal, that's about it. What is available is what he can use. He cannot ask you to produce details and data. Don't give. Don't give. Next. But you must have the courage
No,
to
the
write
visit
it.
statement has this line where it says, I'll be producing balance sheet, stock statement, everything.
You say in accordance with the provisions of law I will produce, no? You add that.
The client comes after this is recorded.
You have to educate him, you have to teach
So
him.
we have to send a letter to the officer again.
Yeah, you have to write under which provision you are asking me for books of accounts, balance sheets, etc., etc. Let him say, no? That I am asking you under this provision 65, 165, 265, 364, whatever. Let him say what he wants to say. Correct? You ask Kuber, he will give you a draft. Yes, sir.
Yeah, taking this further, one step, the cause for the inspection, if that itself nullifies, will the authorization of inspection be valid still? If suppose the return is not yet filed, and based on that the authorization was issued for inspection, but before the officer comes for inspection, the return was already filed, then still can he visit?
This is the problem. When he comes for inspection, why don't you ask him for INS1? Why don't you ask him? What are the 5 points in INS1 that is there? If these are the 5 points which are in terms of the form 139 sub rule 1, if it is in terms of those 5, he will check, he will tick it and he will come suppression, evasion, excess input tax credit, etc. If it is not one of these 5, then information must have been presented to him. So you ask him that question, now what is the information that is in your possession pursuant to which you have inspected me? What is that information? Something must be there. Some data mining must have been done. He should say, no, I have extracted this data from the GST portal and I believe that there is an evasion, avoidance or suppression of tax. Something he should say. Yes. So you ask him. Next you should ask him, who is this man who put up this data before you? Who is that man? You have a right to know. You have a right to know. Because if you look at these 5 check boxes, please look at those 5 check boxes. In those 5 check boxes, non-filing of return is not an issue there. So he cannot inspect for non-filing of return. Non-filing of return, he can only proceed under 61, right? 62, 61.
No, because now generally they have been going for non-filing of returns issue, that point they taken, they going.
Ask him for INS1, no? In INS1, you ask him, show me what is written. If he has ticked something saying there is evasion of tax, tell him what is written, you show me, only then I will allow you to, I will give you my books of account. Don't give him the books of account, what will happen? Nothing will happen. Nothing will happen.
Because this is common practice, what I have seen now, it's prevailing.
See, the problem with the SSCs is also you are scared. Because there will be something more than what is visible to the naked eye. So you want this man to get out as early as possible. So you will say, okay, ye karunga, wo karunga. So camera is there, so I cannot speak. So you do a lot of things. So I am saying, don't be scared. Other things apart, If it doesn't fall within this 5, don't give him, unless he says that there is an evasion in relation to stock. It appears that you have moved goods. Let him say it, no? Then you tell him, come, let's talk. So don't give. Next. Okay, till the next questions come, okay.
Sir, there are two parallel summons which have been issued for one client. One is
From
by
the center, the other by the state.
No, sir, in the state only, one by the vigilance, one by enforcement. And this is a one-off case, I can tell. Both the things are dated same, the summon date is also same, the to be present date also is the same. So generally, which is the one which is going to be the one where I have to represent?
I
Or
won't
do I
appear
need to-
for both.
Sir?
If I am in your place, I won't appear for both. I will simply write a letter to the joint commissioner, mark it to the additional commissioner and say that I cannot appear before two fellows for the same year for the same purpose. Therefore, you assigned me to any one person, that summons come from there, I'll appear. I won't appear for both.
Okay, the case what had happened is because in the summons what had happened, one had come by the registered post, they went and attended the summons. The other one has come by email which they were not aware. Only after attending they came to know this particular thing that there is another.
Then I will come back and write a letter saying
Okay.
they are from two different people. You tell me whom I have to appear for the next time, I have to file a reply or to furnish data. Till then, don't furnish the data. Don't furnish. Let them know what is happening. Actually, we have a software issue. That is the reason why you have this. But let them set it right.
Yeah, because they are not having an internal mechanism, that's what I came
They
to know.
don't have. The RFN generates differently. So don't appear. Don't
Okay.
appear.
Okay.
In your place, I won't appear.
Okay, the other thing is when there's an enforcement proceedings, there is a IR and FR, which is a final report. So there are audit notices or the audit notices have got initiated based on the IR basically. As on date, the FR is also concluded from the department side. I want to know the first thing is, can I get a copy of this FR? Because nowhere.
Of course, yes. Of course, yes.
We can ask them for the report.
Of course, yes,
copy.
you can.
Okay,
Of course, yes, you can.
okay.
Both the interim reports, final reports, including the proceeding sheets that
Because
you
they
sign.
tell
if
it's an
any.
internal document and they tell it's they need not provide this document. That's
You
what
write to
they're
them
telling.
directly saying, if you are going to use this report against me, then you will have to furnish me a copy of this report. If there are no issues relating to tax in that internal report, then please don't furnish a copy to me. Matter ends there.
Okay. So it's like an injunction basically.
That's it, you write.
We have to write a
Yes,
letter based
please
on-
write. Yours Kuber is getting all copies.
Okay. The other one is with regard to enforcement, the process has happened, but the audit officer has initiated based on the IR and he has not considered the FR. So FR, they haven't given the IR nor the FR to me. Only the IR has come as a part of the audit enclosure as such. So we can write that, but
Before you commence writing replies to these notices, I want you to do two things. One is write to the enforcement authority saying that you have written an interim report to the assing of whoever, whichever ward, circle, etc. You enclose that copy. This is the report that has been furnished to me. And you write in the same report that it appears that there are no further issues in respect of this. And once you confirm, we will write replies to the 65-4 officer. Till then, you don't commence your reply. Mark CC to audit officer and read it along with 2 subsection 13 and 65 subsection 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
okay.
You will find your answer there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I have a question, to Shankar sir.
Manjunath sir, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ.
Whether the requirement of incriminating material for making additions still exists. Shankar sir.
You look like you're a Benami of somebody. Know the subject. Yeah? I was also watching. Benami Prohibition Act is a very, ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ ಅದು ಕ್ವಶನ್. He doesn't know what increment, which section also he won't know. It's not in that practice. My own, it's like what you call your own student trying to test my knowledge. You could have asked it yourself. After all, at the end of the day, if you tell me to speak some more hours on search, we can go on. There's nothing on it. If you all want to do practice on search, it's a question whether incriminating material or what is the question?
After the amendments now to.
No, don't amplify. First say, repeat what he said. No supplementaries permit. Simply read what he read. No, give all that. First let him read what he asked. Read it out. I'll explain because it has a very interesting answer. Please read what the question is said.
Explanation to section 147 of the new regime states that the AO may assess or reassess the income of
There is
irrespective-
nothing to incriminate. First read the incriminating part. I want to answer that beautifully. You read what you read, you read.
Okay. Whether the requirement of incriminating material for making additions still exists.
Beautiful. Now the point is, when you want to answer this question, you'll have to accept the concept of what is search. What is search? Search period are divided into 4 broad categories. From 1961 to 1995 is the first category. 1996 January to 31st May 2003 is second category. 1st June 2003 to 31/3/21 is third category. And 31/3/21 onwards is fourth category. Now your case falls under which category? Your case falls under which category? Okay, you want to answer for fourth category because each category has a different answer. I will explain to you all the categories. Insofar as the first category is concerned, the law is governed by 2 decisions of the Supreme Court, Puranmal and Pratap Singh. They said, notwithstanding the fact incremental has been found, not found, etc., you are entitled to use the material even if it's an illegal search. The search is held to be illegal. Up to 95 December, you can use that material in an assessment. Only thing you could not have used in an order to be passed under section 132(5) of the Act. There was an order those days which many of you all won't know, is after a search, an order has to be passed under 132(5) to keep that seizure in the possession of the officer. An opportunity is given to you to explain everything, and if the order is passed in your favor, they are in duty bound to release it immediately, cash or otherwise. That law got changed in 89. Then 95, what they did was, they brought in the concept of block assessment. There's no longer an assessment which is individual centric. They said block assessment, and there were 2 assessments. That is, your regular assessment for each of the years and a block assessment for a period comprising of 10 years. So 2 types of assessments. So the courts have consistently held, as there are 2 types of assessment possible on a person, if in order to invoke the special chapter of block assessment, there must be undisclosed income arising out of incriminating material. This is one of the things. Then they thought, no, this is not okay, and we will rechange the law in 2003, from 1st June 2003. They brought in a new assessment called the 153A, 153 assessments. The language is not very clear whether increment is required or not for 153A. But ultimately, courts in Abhishal Builders recently 454 ITR has held incremental material is sine qua non for making an assessment between 2003 to 31/3/21. Now they realized all these efforts are in waste, but it is not waste. For 26 years we had good practice, Annadata Sukhi Bhava. If they had not brought 4 laws, so much law would not have done, so many chartered accountants would have not survived, so many advocates have made fortunes out of these amendments. Because every time government thinks of something, it always thinks good of professional. Every amendment made is only for you all. It gives an opportunity for you all to think, ink and then link. These are very, very important things. So you have to never be unhappy with any amendment. Now they brought a new amendment by saying we go back to the old period, regular 148 assessments. Now the issue is, it is no longer a special search assessment. Time limits are there. If it's a search, you can do for more than 3 years. That's all procedural. I don't really recall the time period. If it's not a search, within 3 years they can issue. Now the question of incremental, etc. does not arise at all. If the procedure contemplated under 148 is fulfilled, they have a right to reopen. If you are a search case, 148A is not required to be followed. But I have taken a contention and argued in High Court for 15 days. Even in a search case, some of the procedures are to be followed. Orders are awaited. It is a very, if it, in fact, if we succeed, it will be one of the finest judgments where we say incremental metal indirectly is required, though not directly. See, when in 153C proceeding they said it is not required. So same logic could be applied, that simply you can, search happens, no material, nothing found. Why should I be burdened with a notice and procedure in law? Then whether already an assessment is over or not is another question. If already an assessment under 143 is over, there is one track. If no assessment is over, is another track. There are a lot of tributaries. According to me, this question is like river Indus. It goes and it branches into 5, Bhagirathi, this and all. So like that, there are so many options available. The option you have to read the law, apply the law to the facts of the case with precision, and you are bound to succeed because 100% there will be some errors made by the officer. 200%. He will pass an order contrary to law. He will pass an order in accordance with law, which the law will get amended. You have to also accept one reality. The reason we all succeed professionally in all these matters is not that we are extremely competent or we are brilliant or anything. It is just that we are consistent with an assessee. A same officer is not consistent with that assessee. By the time the case ends, the officer changes. I will tell you one very interesting experience on this. I had an occasion to argue a matter in the High Court. One order has been obtained, I can say, in the tribunal. Department is on High Court. It comes before judge number 1. He says, what is this? How can this order be sustained? Department appeal. My lord, it's a very interesting matter, and that too it was recommended to be one of the former Chief Justice of India, his own brother's case. So I had to be extremely, I couldn't even tell that this case is like this. So I said, my lord, you need some time to research. I think this is a wonderful case. As our office has always, every day 9, 10 cases, one adjournment is very easy in our office. We never have any problem in High Court for adjournment because out of 10 we'll argue, we can keep the court occupied the whole day. So they will always give us that latitude. Then we said, okay, it never surfaced for 2-3 years. Then it came before another judge. Shankar, you can sustain this order. Why are you wasting your time? 2008 matter, we are already on 2013. It's impossible to even give you 1 day time. Brilliant point is there, my lord. Just wait. You are not hearing me. You are coming to a judgment without hearing me. Your lordship have to hear me and then take a decision. Okay, start. No, my lord. Today stars are conspiring against me. Your lordship mood is not good. So I'll argue on some other day. So he gave me 1 week time or something. Again, it didn't surface for another 1 year. Sometimes client's luck, you and I can't help it. Third judge it came. Same repetition. Who was allowed this case to survive for 5 years in the High Court? 5 appeal. See, department appeal, so much 2001-2 matter. We are already in 2016, nearing 15. I said, no, my lord. It was reaching, but then it was reaching fag end of the day. And normally your lordship get up at 4:45. You can't start an important case at 4:40. It was getting adjourned. It's the luck of the client. Okay, now today I am not giving any luck to the client. You argue now only. No, today I am not ready, my lord. You have to give me one last chance. He gave one time and again 1 more year went away. It came before the 4th judge. See the fate of the client. All the 4th judge, it's such a beautiful experience. Every judge, that is why I say judges are wonderful creatures. All of them had hit the bull point within 5 minutes. 4th judge also said, no, I don't have a case. It was, according to me, 3rd of December 2017. I said, no, my lord, I need 1 hour. If you want, I'll start. And what to start? There's no case. Department has to say, I rely on it is a order under 263, I rely on the 263 order. He sat, you have to defend. He knows the judge's mood, so he doesn't argue. I said, I'll reply at 2:30. So what will happen between now and 2:30? My colleagues asked me. I said, world of difference will happen. Let us see. I'm not inclined to argue it today. Let us see how it goes. To our good luck, at 1:30, somebody moved on emergent matter, very important matter, so it has taken to 2:30, first on board. So at 2:30, that matter went on, it went on for 1.5 hours, it became 4 o'clock. Then the judge remembered, now can we take yours? Oh my lord, 20 minutes is not sufficient, I need one morning time, the afternoon time is not okay, please give me some other, tomorrow, not tomorrow my lord. 2 weeks, no, you are trying to avoid vacation, okay. You want to do research? I will give you 17th of December, last day of vacation. On that day, we'll bury this case, he said. Yes, my lord. God will bury my lord, nothing to worry. So it happened. And on 17th, the case didn't come at all. 15th, 16th, something happened. Then 17th, he remembered, every day I'm in the court. What happened to that case? Why it has not come? Your lordship disposed it of day before yesterday. What happened day before yesterday? Hey, how can you do that? Recall that order. I would not have signed. No, my lord, I did not. It was department case. The government of India increased the monetary limit, so they withdrew the case. So it came within the monetary limit of 1 crore. So I have not done anything, my lord. They have bunch of 400 cases, your lordship disposed. This also got involved in it. So he didn't know whether to laugh, cry or anything. He said, your client needs to pay you money not for arguing, for taking adjournment. So, before an officer, don't reply. Take adjournment as much as possible. Reply later. Nothing will happen. And the last day of a time barring assessment, go and file 100 pages. One last interesting experience before I wind up. One matter I appeared before an officer. 27th of March, I wrote a 50-page reply and sent my junior to file it. My colleague, chartered accountant, who had engaged me on the brief, he said no. He came back to me in 20 minutes. I was in Plaza office sitting. He said, no, I am not taking this order, you go back. So I was very upset. I said, you are not able to file one letter. What type of practice you are doing? What should I do, sir? He is not taking, sir. The clerk is refusing to take, the officer is firing me. Then what should you do? Registered post. He said, no, that is not the right way. I took one letter. I wrote a letter to the Commissioner of Income Tax. This is what has happened. I am extremely sorry to make you a postman for passing on this paper to your officers. And I am pained. But anyhow, as your officer has refused, I am enclosing the entire reply to you. I filed it in the Commissioner's office. Normally, Commissioner's tapals go to them at 4:30 in the evening. You saw this letter. I said, you put it in my, that chartered accountant says, no, sir, I can't write it. I said, okay, write it in my name. What is that? I'll sign it. Then he called me, Shankar, what are you writing a letter like this? What did I write? Sir, nothing. You come right away. I went. I said, sir, we tried to file, they are not accepting. I'm just putting it on record. What is that? Unnecessarily you'll add 50 crores of rupees who are not understand his reply. Nothing is required to be added. 75 crores they have proposed. I'm going to reply. 75 crores is not a small sum. Okay, sir. One fair proposal. You call for the file. The officer, additional commissioner, they're all sitting in the next building or in the main building. You look at the file. If the order has been passed, I'll take it, tear it. I will handle the appeal the way I like it. If the order has not been passed, direct them to look into it and pass the order. I'm not asking them to allow me. So he called all of them. The order is not passed, he said. How do you know? I know, sir, all orders are passed on 31st midnight. I've been practicing for 40 years now. Which officer has got the courage to pass even 2 days earlier? Everywhere they will do last minute. When do you read for your exam, sir? You wrote all exam tomorrow, I mean whole night you will be reading. Has any one of you all have read Aram say and gone to a picture on the day of exam CA? Tomorrow CA exam, anybody have gone for movie? Nobody will go. You will be reading. Oh, something will come, some question will come, you will be reading. So I told him this way the officers are to pass orders is every day is exam for them. I told the officer you have a look into it, and then they actually out of 75 crores, 67.5 crores, the officer only deleted. See the luck of the client. If they had not deleted that day by that thinking process of sending it to the commissioner, they would have added the money. In fact, Prashant only had the occasion to argue that matter in the tribunal in respect of the balance 7 crores, and he also succeeded there. So it's important that we should not be scared of writing to the department. That is the most important thing I want you all to take a lesson from this, whatever seminars we are having here. Never worry. Be polite. Be firm. Don't be rude in writing. Be polite. Write well. Write the points that occur to you. repeat it. There's one thing called doctrine of reiteration. You keep repeating it, it may go, some point may go into his head. Otherwise, you write one short reply, nothing will go. He'll read, he'll not even understand sometimes. He has so much intention. If you write him 20 pages, at least he'll try to read some 5-6 times. Some point of yours may occur. Don't hesitate to repeat it. Write it in active voice, write it in passive voice, in whatever manner you want to repeat. But convey the message. Writing long letters is not a problem. Please write it. At the end of the day, there are some people who believe, who are extremely competent officers, can find the point in 1 minute. But extremely stressful officer and revenue-oriented officer will not understand the point because his mind is already fixed. So you have to keep pushing at him and doing that. And lastly, all of you all should start, having heard the seminar on search survey, in future only handle TTT cases. Thank you. You want to know what is TTT? Nobody asked that question. See, I was waiting for your answer. You didn't answer.
We wanted to ask her.
Then TT means Tante, Tarle, Takrar. Please.
Yes, sir. I mean, general question. Sir, if a notice is issued in a vernacular language other than English, which we can't understand, how to, I mean, is it valid or what, sir? I could not translate.
Yeah, right. Actually, Shankar sir is right. Shankar sir is right. Generally, some of these officers issue in vernacular. So there is a gazette notification issued even under the GST law that any notice can be issued by a state tax officer in the official language of the state, or in Hindi, or in English. So if it is issued in Kannada, then first is you will have to ask for a translation, either directly to the officer or through an official translator. Once the translated version comes, you will have to send it back to the officer to say that this is the contents of the translated version. Then start replying to it. You got it?
We can ask officer or we can get it translated and then submit to the officer.
If, yes, both the ways. If he gives you a translated version, that is official version. If you get it translated by someone else, you'll have to send it back to him saying, this is the translated version that I have. Kindly acknowledge this, and then start reply to your notice. Got it?
Sir, in the previous session it was said that for summons, for getting a summons, if the officer asked multiple documents, in section 70 it was referred as a document. So we were telling, I mean, a document means singular, but generally singular includes plural, no sir, in sometimes. Whether that summons section 70 includes a multiple documents, can the officer ask? Because I was having a different opinion, so that is the reason.
It works both ways. If you look at Maxwell's interpretation, A is 1. A is generally 1. Please sit down. A is generally 1. But it is also possible that under certain circumstances, you will have to read it in the context in which it is said. The context in which it is said. In that context, it could be multiple documents. For example, if he says, I want to see the original invoices, you cannot take one invoice and show it as a document, and therefore, if he says, prove your input tax credit claims by furnishing the original inward supply invoices, you can't take one document and show him. You have to take everything and show him. So, you have to read it in the context.
Members, many things were learnt. I was keen on listening to both the ends. I could write very little. 3 R's: relook at the papers, reflect on what has been seen, and then respond. We all are blessed to hear Shankar sir and Venkataramani sir, listen to them for 2 hours of their experiences. At three people need to be courageous enough for a search to be ineffective. That is assessee himself, assessee's wife, and assessee's auditor. We all can read and research the subject on the subject matter under discussion, but cannot get that 40 plus 30 plus years of experience what both have explained to us today as to how to handle and how not to handle the such cases. Thank you so much, sir. A big round of applause for both the giants of the profession. As a token of gratitude and respect, I would like to hand over a memento to the speakers on behalf of members present here and all the managing committee members. I request Pramod R. Hegde, our vice chairman, to do the honors. Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all. Keep supporting Bangalore branch. And then we have 2 days CP seminars on Friday and Saturday of 15th and 16th December 2023 at Devarajaras Bhavan, Vasant Nagar, and 1 day seminar of 6 hours CPE on 18 November. Please note this. Thank you.